Good evening, everyone. This lecture is on the story of Narcissus and the poem Mirror, and this is something we have to put into our minds. You can read them in random because both handle or deal with the myth of Narcissus in Greek mythology. They teach us lessons about selfishness, self-love, and self-admiration. You call it whatever you want, and that's something the story and the poem discuss from their influences on us as humans. So there is a stark warning to those who love themselves better than the others or prefer themselves. So again, the idea is being selfish is not really a good thing. This is how the story goes. Narcissus was a very charming, good-looking boy, and he loved his own beauty, the fact that he was handsome, and for this he rejected all of the maidens were showing to him. They were craving his attention, but he always rejected this. And one of them had to appeal to the goddess of revenge and punishment, Nemesis, and complained about this fact that Narcissus was denying her love or her expression of love or admiration. So she decided to punish him. Nemesis decided to punish him for his selfishness. One day he was wandering around in the woods. He was walking around the woods somewhere, and he came across a small lake, and the water of the lake was very clear, was crystal clear. And he saw the reflection of his own image on the water, on the surface of the water. He didn't know Echo was following him, and Echo was one of those maidens he didn't care of, and she was condemned by the Hera to repeat everything she hears. So that's where the idea of echo, or the definition of the word echo, comes from. So he was looking at the water, and he was in so much love with his reflection on the water, and he wanted to touch her with his hands. And again, this may apply the physical aspect of things. So when we always want to make sure that things are physical. So when someone tells you, for example, you are Asian, you go to the mirror, in front of the mirror, and you look at the wrinkles because you want to give it a physical touch. So he wanted to touch it, so it is real. But this is so normal. When you touch water, the things that are usually reflected on it goes or disappears. So that beautiful reflection of his own image disappeared, and he tried to catch it. So he plunged into water to catch it, but he drowned. So when Echo came to look for him, she found a flower already grown in that spot, and that's the flower we call Narcissus, or Nargis in Arabic. Again, we can listen, or we can learn a lot of things from the story. The idea of of selfishness always ends with something bad, so it ends with a tragedy. This is what happened to Narcissus, and it's not a good thing to have. Instead, people should be selfless, should care of others, should prefer others. And in the Quran we have the sense of al-itar, so it's always to put other people first. Sometimes we act out of respect of women, for example, and we say women or ladies first, or les femmes d'abord. There is the idea of punishment and revenge. So anything you do, and if it's bad, you have to pay for it in one way or another. There is always someone who is going to punish you. It can be a person, it can be a system, it can be a state, whatever. And again, it's not the physical beauty that is important, or that matters. Physical beauty can disappear anytime. So it's about your morals and principles and the values. As we said before, the poem Mirror technically makes the same use of the myth. So both the Sword of Narcissus and the Mirror have similar details technically, and they have similar messages. There's just a little slight difference. The very little mirror also brings the idea of reflection. So we have two parts. The first part called stanza, and in this part the speaker is the mirror itself, and it's busy telling about her identity, what it is, and it's an object reflecting sincerely and truly the reality. So it reflects honestly, objectively, whatever is in front of it. It expresses no values of judgments like likes, dislikes, love, whatever. So it is very neutral. Whatever comes in front of it, it reflects it. Good or bad, that's not its concern. And this is something you can see in line 3. The mirror was always busy, and here you can think of the idea that people are busy looking at themselves. So they are more concerned with their physical appearances. We care less about our characters, our personality, or our principles or values or attitudes. We care more of our looking. So again, this is the idea of the mirror being busy, because people always were coming to see their faces. In the second part, which is the second stanza, there is a sudden shift or a transition or a change in the plot or in the story itself. So the mirror now is assuming the role of a lake, and a woman looking into for the reflection of her own image, and this is again evokes the story of Narcissus. Now it's women, not men, but the idea is the same. Someone coming to the lake to see the reflection of their own images. The woman would always go and look at her face, and she was worried about the fact she was Asian, means getting old. So she was always looking at the mirror, and she was hoping to see no signs or marks of getting old. And this is again something we do. So it's part of our human experiences or feelings or things we do. So it's part of our personalities. And but again, the mirror was very honest, was very sincere. So it was showing those wrinkles on the woman's face and the impact of ages. And you can see this in the 2 lines of the poem, the last 2 lines of the poem. And one of them says, "In me she has drawn a young girl." Again, it's the idea of self-love and how bad it is. And it's the implication here in the mirror of women's more concerned with beauty than men. And again, this is part of our human experiences. Women in general care more of their beauty and physical appearance than men do. Thank you.